Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about something that everyone has been after me for a while about, and that is how to actually adjust these plastic frames. I give some tips and tricks along the way of the various adjustments for how to prevent them from sliding down, how to keep them from slipping, how to keep them from leaving marks on your nose, and I'll link those videos down in the comments, as well as do a few cards just to make sure it's in there and you can find it easily. So we're going to try something a little bit different today and see if we can talk about how to actually make some of these tweaks yourself at home, because I know it's kind of hard to get to places to do adjustments these days. So let's take a look at that. Now, kind of the first trick is making sure you have the right type of plastic that you think you do. We'll get into that in a minute. First of all, if you're new to the channel, take a moment for me and subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date on the latest and coolest videos as we go through and talk about different lens technologies, frame adjustments, and sort of all the things related to glasses and sunglasses that you'll ever need to know, and more, hopefully. Anyways, now, onto what you're actually here for, and that is what to do. That's a fun one, right? When they're all stretched out, and yeah, you guys might recognize this color. This is actually the twin to one of my frames in that gorgeous green, but they've been left in the car a few times. They've been stretched out a few different ways, and that makes this happen, and this curvature in the front is completely gone. So in that case, we're going to want to heat up the frame right here a little bit to add some of that wrap back in, and that's going to take care of most of it, but in this case it's a little bit out here as well. Now, I mentioned right off that the material the frame is actually made from matters. So like the frame I'm wearing, this one I'm showing you, these are acetate frames. They're going to be pretty malleable to begin with. Really very low temperatures needed to adjust on these. In fact, a lot of the nicer, higher grade acetates like these, really wearing them all day gets them pretty much to the temperature you need to be at to make those adjustments. So on this guy, you know, it's not worn as much because it is a pair of sunglasses, so they're not on 8 hours a day. They haven't gotten up to that nice 9800 degree range. Just doesn't work as well, so we need a little extra heat, and I'm skipping out on the optician focus tools today and just using a hairdryer with a diffuser. This is actually kind of the important part because you want to direct exactly where the heat's going. In this case, we want to focus it on the bridge. The problem here is, with the lenses still in the frame, you do stand a chance at damaging any coatings on the frames. A lot of the coatings out there just aren't designed for high heat. And by high heat, I mean like 120 degrees will often cause them to fail. We even have to be careful of that adjusting in the shop. So sometimes if they're an easy fit, we'll knock the lenses out before we do any major adjustments. Put them back in. Obviously that can change the curvature of the frame front and where this is depending on the prescription, because these lenses can put pressure here and bow that out too. That's another story. You guys don't need to be worried about that. So on to what you really want to see, right? And that's actually heating this guy up. Now, it's not something, you don't really need a ton of time doing this. It's just a few seconds really to get it nice and warmed up. So as I mentioned, we've got the diffuser on here. This one does have temperature control, but still high is going to get it done. I'm just lazy. So right there, keeping the focus of the heat right in the center of that bridge. And you do want to be careful about this. You don't want to put it right here and make it super overheated, because that will damage the material. You stand a chance of damaging that as well as the lenses even further. So, back to this. Just a nice, soft, slow adjustment. I don't even know if you can hear me. Just do a nice even heating around that bridge, and you'll see, you know, you can tell when it first starts to get warm. As I mentioned, these don't take a ton of heat. Just a touch more. There you go. So the lenses aren't hot. I didn't screw those up. And you'll kind of do, in this case, you'll brace with your fingers here and here because you want the pressure to be where the frame has the most problem. And in that case, that is right in the bridge. Now this one, you can tell is not quite where I want it to be to hold that adjustment, so it needs a little bit more heat because I keep cutting it off and on. Now that last little bit there, you don't want to concentrate too much heat in one spot, as especially in the case of laminated frames, you can cause warping between the layers, and that is not what we want to see. As far as actually holding that shape, once you've got it pretty good and heated up, you'll want to literally hold the shape until it cools back down. Just like heating it up, it's not something that takes too long. If you're in an absolute rush, you can hit it with a touch of cold water. And there you go, you see, we're already much better. It's not totally flat across the front anymore. I don't have the face I need these on in front of me, so I'm gonna stop there on the adjustment of the bridge because we've still got, that's pretty well what we'd like to see, right about 4 degrees of wrap. That's getting a little complex, but nothing too crazy. So then the next step on this one would be to take out the bow right here. And again, because I don't have the face, I don't want to do too much with that. And these, I really would like to pop the lenses out before I get into that one. But if you have optician fingers and you can handle the heat, you can block the heat from getting to the lens and burn your thumb instead. So in the case of that, once that's heated up, you'll put just the tiniest bit of pressure right there. Sometimes it helps if you do have like a soft cloth or towel to add a little bit of extra heat or a little bit of extra pressure right here. Now, again, with this, you do want to be a little bit more careful because you're getting back into the lens area, so you can cause damage and cracking of the lens over there. So just something else to be mindful of. Now back to what I really wanted to focus on here is the material the frames are made of themselves. Now I did mention these are all acetate, super easy to work with, nothing too crazy, but there's a lot of materials out there that are plastics that aren't acetate. So that's something you want to be mindful of. You've got your nylons, you've got your injected plastics, you've got Optil and TR90 and several others out there. The one thing that's going to help you identify if you can see into the frame, like in the case of this one, and that's actually why I wore this one for this video, you can see that metal core running all the way down the temple. That's a pretty good indication that you're safe making adjustments on the frame. Any of the ejected materials like the nylons or the cheaper plastics are not going to have that metal core. Those you don't want to heat up. The nylons, you can actually cause damage at the molecular level of the material and cause it to degrade much faster. Not only that, but it's not got much adjustment in it to begin with. That's why a lot of the nylon frames, these are going to be your sport frames. They're going to be the high wrap sunglasses and things along those lines. They're really meant to take a beating. There are some oddballs out there. Silhouette has theirs, Porsche Design has theirs, SPX and RPX respectively, if I remember correctly. And those are nylon polymer blends. So they're a little bit different, but you can still damage it if you heat it up too much. Anything over about 120 degrees or so, again, is going to be where you start getting into trouble spots. So definitely something to be mindful of there. Optil in particular, that one you have to heat the absolute, yeah, out of. It has to get super hot to be able to adjust. It's almost going to turn into rubber and putty in your hands. It'll fold up over itself. The great thing with Optil, if you screw it up and you do heat it up too much and can't even get it in some sort of kind of a shape that you want to work with, then you just let it cool down, you heat it up again, and it bounces right back. Optil is super cool like that. Very fun material to work with. but not one you really want to work with if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't heat it up enough, you're going to snap it in half. See that happen all the time, even to opticians. Horn is another one that has to get super, super, super hot. You're going to work on that with gloves. If you have a horn frame, don't even try and do it yourself. That's asking for trouble on all sorts of levels. Opticians screw these up all day. Labs screw these up all day. Just don't touch. Don't touch. Horn and wood, don't touch. As far as the plastics, the injected plastics you can get by with. They're often pretty brittle too, so you do have to be careful there. There is a risk of damage with a lot of these. Even acetate, you know, if it's gotten pretty old, it's a little bit more brittle, so there is a chance of damage there. I'm kind of digging this not having to move the camera myself thing. New toys, right? Okay. I will stop blabbering about lens materials and frames. I hope that has given you guys kind of a good idea of what to do when your frame is really stretched out. But more importantly, with the plastic frames, how you go about heating to make these adjustments. You're gonna add the little bit of heat where it needs to be, very little bit of heat. You do not wanna overheat these frames, especially laminated ones. High chance of breakage at that point, and nobody likes broken glasses. Yeah, nobody, not even me. You come to me with broken glasses, I'm sad too. You have to buy new ones, but still sad, because especially if it's a nice one. All right, now I'm done blabbering, I promise. I hope this video has helped you. If it did, let me know down in the comments below, or if there's anything you'd like me to expand on in this video, or anything else you would like me to talk about. I'm really not sure what to do with my hands anymore. Okay, so I gotta go. See you guys next time.